Hello and welcome to another episode here on the podcast where today I'll be talking about my early finalist predictions for this year's series of Britain's Got Talent. My name is Marsinger Homie, content creator and the host of Marsinger Homie's Recap and Review podcast, where I talk about TV, music, celebrities and so much more. If this is your first time tuning into my podcast and you're listening on Spotify, please download the episode and follow the podcast so you don't miss anything. Or if you're watching this on YouTube, please subscribe to the channel and hit the notification bell. And remember, you can always follow me on my social media platforms, which are my Instagram at MarsingerHomie and my YouTube channel, which is MarsingerHomie. All of it is available in the thumbnail of the podcast if you're listening on Spotify. So, as you guys probably know by now, we are at the halfway stages for the auditions of Britain's Got Talent Series 19, and let me tell you, it has been an absolutely belt of a season. Like it's been absolutely fantastic. The talent has been amazing, and I guess in general, just in general, again, like this year, I think has probably been my favorite year in terms of the talent. Like I really liked last year, but this year it's just gone up to a whole new level. It's been absolutely brilliant, and with that, if you've been a listener on my podcast for some time, you may know that at the halfway stages of these type of shows like BGT and America's Got Talent, I do my early picks and predictions essentially it's my predictions who I think will make it through to the final later this year. And of course, I've been wrong quite a few times before, which I'm not ashamed to admit. Last year, I got 5 of my finalist predictions correct, and the previous year I got 7 of them correct, which I think is a pretty good record. So hopefully I have a good track record on who I think could be finalists this year. And of course this will change over time. I think maybe at the end of the auditions I might do an updated finalist predictions video, maybe on the Monday or something. I don't know, but I will probably do an updated one at the end of the season, at the end of the auditions, essentially, so I can have my, I think it'd be nice for me to do that because I really want to share my thoughts here. And of course, I think I had a quite tricky time talking about some of these putting these acts together because I mean, again, the talent this year has been absolutely unbelievable, and so it's been. And also, I've got no idea if the Golden Buzzer is going to return to the live shows this year. I have no clue. So it kind of makes it more difficult because I think last year it was quite hit or miss. I think so. I personally, I could see them not having it return and it just go back to the normal way, like the public vote, the judge's choice. I am hoping for that to happen because I really liked that. But we'll find out, of course, soon enough. So without any further ado, I think we should get started. So I picked the 11 finalists here who I think will make it there. Of course, one of them is the wild card in a way. So here we go. So my early predictions who I think will make it through to the BGT final this year are the Rafiqis, Matty J, Anastasia and Salsa, Rafferty Coop, Neve Node, Fabian Fox, Paul Nanari, Celestial, Anti-Gravity, Mega Unity, and the Hawkstone Farmers Choir. So this is my my current finalist predictions right now at the time of making this episode, and for me, this is the final I could visualize seeing. We've got a good amount of variety here, some very unique, quite a few unique acts that we haven't seen before, like Celestial and Anti-Gravity, and also I think again the talent this year has been absolutely brilliant. So I think if this were to be the final lineup this year, I think it would be unbelievable. I remember back in Series 17, the year Sydney Christmas one, that was an unbelievable year of talent. It was honestly, for me, one of the best years talent-wise, and the final was absolutely unbelievable, where I think almost every one of those acts that year could have won it. We had Innocent Masuku, Sydney, Jack Rhodes, Haribo, Salabi, so many good acts that year. And even the acts that didn't go through to the final could have been finalists any other year. So, and I think we could see a potential scenario like that going into the live shows where we see some really good acts unfortunately not make it, which I'm hoping to not have that happen, because so many of these acts here all deserve to be finalists in my opinion. And again, of course, I could be wrong with these, but these are just my personal picks as of right now. And very soon I'm going to be doing another episode talking about who I think are the dark horses who could potentially surprise us later down the line. That's going to be coming very soon, so you won't want to miss that. But I think we should just get started into my semi-finals, who I think will be the top 2 for each semi-final. So let's get into that. So as I mentioned before at the start of the episode here for the podcast episode, that we're not sure if the Golden Buzzer will be returning for the live shows, and because as you guys know, 2 acts from each week will go through to the final. Again, no idea if the Golden Buzzer's returning, so I'm just going to do it just 2 acts and just how I feel. I might give my opinion to say if there is the Golden Buzzer, they could get it, but I'm going to try my best to kind of lean towards not lean that way, just because we haven't got any like confirmed information about it returning. I'm personally hoping we go back to the normal way of the public vote and the judges vote. I really hope that to happen, because I it just feels right when we do it that way. But of course, we'll find out later down the line. So let's just get started with my predictions, starting off with semi-final one. And I think the first act to make it through to the final of that lineup for semi-final one will be the Rafikis. And for me, I just think these guys, as I mentioned before when I talked about their audition, their performance absolutely blew me away. Like, acrobatics are literally one of my favorite types of acts to be on the show. And they were just absolutely unbelievable. Like, they literally defy physics in terms of like balancing, acrobats, danger. And I think they are an act that scream the raw variety right here. I think they are an act that could win it. I think that they are worthy of the raw variety. And even one of the members said that, I think when Alicia mentioned how much would it mean to you to win, and one of the members was like, well, we can't answer that question until we get to the final, but we'll answer that question once we make the final. So a little hint there maybe of them being possible finalists, I don't know, but like, I think it's very possible we could see them. I would personally be shocked if they weren't finalists, because I think an act like that deserves to be there. And I think, and I was honestly shocked they didn't get the Golden Buzzer for their audition, because it was absolutely unbelievable. And also, if the Golden Buzzer does return, I could easily see them getting it, and I think it's very possible for that to happen. And again, I'm hoping for that to happen. And again, I just think they are an absolutely unbelievable act, and I think it would be amazing to see them in the final. So the next person out of the semi-final one lineup I have to be a finalist is indeed KSI's Golden Buzzer, Rafferty Coop. And for me, I think he's the biggest lock to be a finalist at the moment, because I've watched his performance numerous times ever since his audition aired. And again, for 16 years old, to have that ability to do a routine like that, have the confidence, is just incredible. And he's honestly so different compared to some of the magicians like we've had over the years. I don't think we've ever had a magician combining magic and music. It was just fantastic. And he's just someone I think he's so likable. He's so down to earth. And I don't think he's been given a bigger break. I think this is the perfect chance for him. And, he's currently the most viewed act of the series right now with I just quickly check this out. He's currently got, I believe, 4.7 million views right now. So easily ahead as the most viewed act of the series, with the second one being very close behind, which we'll talk about a bit later on. But I think that, I think he's someone I could see easily winning the show this year. I think the public will get behind him. And again, I just think he's absolutely fantastic. I want to see him win badly, and I just think it'd be an amazing moment for him. And again, he's just absolutely fantastic. So my finalist predictions coming out of semi-final one are the Rafikis and Rafferty Coop. Now moving on to the semi-final number 2 for week 2 in a way, and here for the first act I think could so the first act I think will make it through to the final out of semi-final 2 if they are in this scenario. And again, another potential live Golden Buzzer if it does return, and it's Anti-Gravity, and who literally had Simon and Alicia fighting over it, and literally Alicia dived onto the Golden Buzzer. And the fact that both Simon and Alicia were literally trying to get to the Golden Buzzer first, it just shows how amazing they were. Like, so for their audition, they had them doing like video game themed routine, and it was visually absolutely unbelievable. Simon said they could win it, and I agree. I think they're doing really well in the betting odds. And again, I just think it's so rare we get to see an act like this, and for them to get the Golden Buzzer, I was so happy for them, because it's those types of acts right there that so deserve that Golden Buzzer. And I think to see them in the final would just be incredible. And also, Alicia's Golden Buzzers for the past 2 years have made it to the judges' choice and not make it through to the final. So hopefully, we break the curse here, and her and these guys make it through, because they are absolutely incredible. Like the technology, like it doesn't seem human. Like it's just so fascinating to watch, and I think they are another contender that could go all the way. They are just absolutely incredible. And so for the next person who I think will make it through to the final in out of this lineup with Anti-Gravity is one of Simon's Golden Buzzers, and it's Matty J from the most recent episode. And again, I think he is one of the other locks I think is going to make it to the end, because I mean, he has been the person I was very excited to see ever since I found out about him, because I basically know about the Golden Buzzers. I'm part of the AGT Discord leaks chat, and we basically talk about the potential Golden Buzzers there. And he was the one I had my eye on, and he did not disappoint, especially with his incredible rendition of Purple Rain. And again, I've mentioned this before. For me, he gave the performance of the series. This most recent episode, it was not only the best performance of the episode, it was, I think, the best performance of the series. And again, his voice is absolutely astounding to listen to. The range he has is incredible. I think that he is someone I could also easily see being a potential winner for the show. I think people may be a bit bored of having singers win, which I can understand, because we have had quite a few singers win over the years. So it would be nice to see some variety win. But I do think he is absolutely fantastic, and just again, I think he's definitely one of my favorites. I think all the Golden Buzzers overall this year have been fantastic. So it's been, again, it just shows how competitive this year is in terms of the talent. And I'm definitely hoping for him to go the whole way, because he is just absolutely fantastic. So my finalist predictions coming out of semi-final 2 are Anti-Gravity and Matty J. Moving on to semi-final number 3 now, and here I have probably the act I really want to see in the final the most. And looking back on other Got Talents, this sort of act have made the final as well. And also on AGT, this act got third place a few years ago, and that is the drones themselves, Celestial. And I think what makes me really like this act as well, because their audition just felt so like patriotic in a way. It was basically a drone display routine themed around the UK. We had the King's Guard, we had the Blackpool Tower, the little red planes doing and just the creativity and the hard work these guys put into it is absolutely unbelievable. Like, I can't imagine how much work this must put into with this performance. Like, it's just incredible. And just, I think for them to put an act like that together with it's just unbelievable. And I think that they are another act I could possibly see have the Golden Buzzer in the live shows. If the live show Golden Buzzer does return, I could see them possibly getting it. But the only issue is that they'll have to pre-record this, I believe, because during the live shows it'll be quite light outside, and so I think they're gonna have to record it like the day before or something. So which honestly I won't really mind, because it's fair, because you won't be able to see the LED the drones at the dark, especially when it's quite light outside. So it'll be quite hard to do that. But I think even with them pre-recording it, I won't have any issue. Like, it's an understandable reason, but I think to see them hopefully get to the final would just be amazing. And also, they are easily one of the most unique acts I think I've seen on the show in a long time. So I think to have them in the final would just be a great thing. So next, the person I think will join Celestial in the final for my semi-final 3 scenario thing here is Anastasia and Salsa. I think I'm almost mispronouncing her name now. I apologize. And seeing how well dog acts have done over the years, we've had 2 dog act winners being Ashley and Pudsey and Jules O'Dwyer and Matisse, and we've had quite a few dog acts make the final as well over the years, which has been awesome. I think they are definitely an act I think the public will get behind. And just again, I absolutely loved their audition. It was just so beautiful, and just again seeing seeing the bond between Anastasia and Salsa is absolutely beautiful. Just again, their performance was so lovely. I just think that they are the exact act I could also see the public get really rooting behind. and I just think it'd be amazing for them to have an act like this in the final would also be brilliant. So again, I love seeing dog acts on the show. I think they are absolutely fantastic, and yeah, I'm definitely rooting for them to potentially be a dark horse in a way. So going into semi-final three for this, my two finalists here are Celestial and Anastasia and Salsa. Now to semi-final number four, and for me, I really want this act to be in the final, and a possible golden buzzer, especially if KSI. And again, and I've said this before, if the live show golden buzzer returns, if it does, I really hope KSI has it this week essentially, because the act I think would be it. Just I don't know why, but this act here I think is the exact act I could easily see. I can easily see KSI pressing it, and that is the most recent dance group from the most recent episode, Mega Unity, and seeing their track record for all their Got Talents they've been on. They went on France Got Talents. They got to the runners up in 2021. They were on it back in 2023 and ended up winning the show that year. They were on Got Talent España and got to the final. And I think they've got a real chance of being possible finalists again. Like, I think between them and LMA, I was really back and forth between who I think could be finalists. I think who could just miss it by the cusp. But I think I'm leaning towards Mega Unity here, because I just think their routine was absolutely incredible. Just the synchronicity they had, the whole theme, the choreography was incredible. The only thing I had an issue with was that I just wish it was a little bit longer, maybe like a minute, 30 seconds long, or some 30 seconds, or maybe a minute long, 45 seconds long. I don't know. I just wish it was a tiny bit longer. But nonetheless, I thought they were just incredible. Nonetheless, I think they are a very possible golden buzzer for the semi-finals if it does return again. And I could easily see KSI pressing it for them, which I think would be awesome. And I'm very intrigued to see what they do in the live shows. Like, if they can up the ante, it would just be brilliant. So next up, the act who I think will join Mega Unity in the final is Simon's first golden buzzer of the series, which was back in the premiere, and that is Paul Nanari. And I think for me, Paul is the definition of someone who doesn't let their disability define their talent, and he absolutely displayed that in the best way possible. Like, his audition was absolutely incredible. Doing the aerial routine, I would have been impressed if it was just if it was someone else doing it, like their normal self. But the fact he's in a wheelchair doing it's just incredible, absolutely unbelievable. And I like it literally, and I think it's definitely up there, one of the best things I've seen on BGT. It was absolutely incredible. I know I've said that quite a lot, but it's true. It's just stunning. He's absolutely phenomenal what he does, and I think, he is another act I could also see being a great asset for the Royal Variety. It would just blow everyone's minds, to be honest. And I just think he's just it's people like him that I love seeing on the show, that don't let their disability get in the way of their dream and their passion. And he has that to a T. It's just absolutely incredible. And again, he's just an amazing, amazing person, an amazing performer. And I think so. That's what I have to say. I could easily see him being another potential candidate to go all the way. And I think I cannot wait to see what he does in the live shows, because I think he's going to once again take it to the next level. So my finalist predictions going into the semi-final four here are Mega Unity and Paul Nanari. So now we're on to the fifth and final semi-final for my early picks and predictions episode here. And for the first I'm going to talk about for here is probably my biggest, maybe not my unpopular opinion, but I have a feeling I just got a good feeling about this person, because I think his act was absolutely fantastic, and it's another magician. Yep, you know me, I love the magic. And again, this year's been the year of magic, and here I have Austrian magician Fabian Fox. And I think for me, what I love most about Fabian is also not just his whole presentation, but his showmanship is incredible, the production value, but also he's very, very different compared to some of the other magicians we've had, doing this whole thing around teleportation. It absolutely blew my mind, the way he did the whole teleportation thing. It was just so fascinating. And he actually got to the final on Germany's Got Talent not too long ago, and he finished as the the runner-up, I believe, which I was pretty surprised about because I remember watching a bit of Das Supertan that year, and I thought he was going to win it. But I think with Fabian, he is definitely someone I could easily see upping up the ante if he does make it through to the live shows. And another one of those dark horse contestants, I think that could easily like surprise us and pull it out of the bag with something amazing, and possibly be a finalist. You know, I think he's another act I could definitely see at the Royal Variety. I think he's another winner candidate, and again, I just think he's absolutely unbelievable. His performance was unbelievable for his audition, and I'm definitely hoping. I'm gonna have to rewatch his Das Super Talent performances again because I'm really interested to see if he can step up to the next level, because I think it would be amazing for him to pull up another incredible trick to hopefully get into the finals. That's definitely what I'm hoping for. And again, to see two magicians in the final this year, I think would be awesome, because again, like I mentioned, this year certainly is the year of magic, and I'm definitely am rooting for Fabian here. So next up, the second final I think will join Fabian in the final for this scenario here is the Irish singer Neve Node, who also plays the harp, and she did her audition of Ordinary by Alex Warren. I love that song. And if you guys remember, she made it to the final on The Voice Kids a few years ago, and she was one of the runner-ups there. And I think with her, I think this she really stands out to me in terms of the singers this year. Like, she really brings something different in terms of like beauty, uniqueness. Her voice is so beautiful to listen to, and the way she played the harp, she played it beautifully. And I think I could just visualize her doing really well this year. I think she's definitely someone to look out for. Especially with looking back on her journey on The Voice Kids, I think she could have a very similar journey, being a possible finalist. And again, I think she's definitely one of my favorite singers this series. I think one of my favorite singers this year is definitely Matty J of the Golden Buzzers, and all the non-Golden Buzzers are definitely her and Finley Barrett Carter, which I'm very rooting for right now. But again, this year is just so competitive, like in terms of all the acts. It's just it just shows how good this year is. So it's going to be a bloodbath once we get to the live shows. But for semi-final number 5, my two finalists here are Neve Node and Fabian Fox. So now we go on to the 11th act, which is normally the wild card. So I didn't want to pick realistically who I think would be the top 3 finishers. So what I decided to do is I decided to pick 5 acts who I think would be possible to get the wild card that year, when it comes around. And I have Fraser Penman, the Hawkstone Farmers Choir, Ted Hill, who was Antidex Golden Buzzer, Finley Barrett Carter, and LMA. Now I think, like, this is the kind of year I kind of hope we get 2 wild cards, because I think last year we were supposed to have that one from the judges and one for the public. I was like, so, but it didn't happen, so it was just the judges wild card. So I'm really hoping to have 2 wild cards, because I could see. I can honestly see all of them here being possible finalists at the end of the day, especially if they're up against some tough competition. I could honestly see all of these acts here being possible finalists if they bring it in the live show. So out of all of them, I'm currently between. I think again all of them would be great finalists at the end of the day, but I went with the Hawkstone Farmers Choir, because I think, of course, Amanda's Golden Buzzer. She's had a pretty good track record of Golden Buzzers over the years, and I think, the farming community is a big thing, with the whole thing, farmers being quite lonely. So for them to be brought together and sing is just a lovely thing. And I think it would just be nice to have a choir like them in the final. And I think they would, to represent the country really well. And again, I think acts like Finley, Fraser, LMA, Ted, I think are all possible candidates to be a second wild card if we do get that option where the public, us, could have the chance of voting, having the public wildcard vote, which I think would be awesome. So, but for now, my wildcard prediction, the actual I think will get the 11th spot in this year's final, is the Hawkstone Farmers Choir. And now, to end off the episode here on the podcast, we're going to talk about my top 3 predictions and who I think will win it in third, second, and first place. So here we go. So my top 3 for this series so far are Rafferty Coupe, Celestial, and Anti-Gravity. And to be honest with you, Anti-Gravity and Rafferty have been my top 2 since day one of seeing the auditions. So I'm definitely excited to see them. Hopefully be the top 2. And Celestial, I think, could really get the public support. I think with their act, I think they were absolutely fantastic, I think so. Let's start off. I think we'll get third place out of the three here, and I think it will be Celestial here, just because I think we've seen it, with Sky Elements back on AGT. They were very unique, really stood out, and they got to third place on AGT, and I could see that happening with with Celestial, but again, I could also see them being a possible runner-up candidate, maybe winner candidate. I don't know, but I think Celestial are very possible to be the top three to be in the top three this year, but I have them for third place. Now between Anti Gravity and Rafferty Coupe, and for second place, I have Anti Gravity, and I think they are an act I could easily see winning this year, especially with the support. Even Simon said they could win it, and definitely one of the most incredible acts I think the show's ever had. In terms of like originality, uniqueness, and just all around talent, they are absolutely incredible. They're doing really well on the betting odds. From what I last checked, they are currently right now at if I just get them up quickly, they are currently at 9. If I remember, they are currently at 9-2. So they are doing well for the betting odds, which is awesome. And I could easily see them being possible winners, but my winner, I think, just screams winner just right there. And I've said it since day one. And I truly think right now, I think Rafferty Coupe is going to be this year's winner of Britain's Got Talent. And I just think he has all the skills. He's got everything there. He's got the stage presence, he's got the talent, he's got the uniqueness, the public are gonna love him. I just think he's so relatable. He's so nice, he's so down to earth, and I just think he's someone who I don't think has been given a big enough break. And I think to see a magician like him win this year would just be amazing. And again, he's the most viewed act this year with 4.7 million views on YouTube, and currently nearly 8 million views on Instagram now, which is crazy. Just shows how well he's doing in the viewing. And again, I just think he's absolutely unbelievable. I really want him to win. I think it'd be amazing for a magician like him to hopefully win and be at the Royal Variety. So right now, my winner pick for BGT 2026 is Rafferty Coupe. So there you have it. That is my early finalist my early picks and predictions for this year's final of Britain's Got Talent Series 19. Let me know what you thought of my predictions down below, and do you agree with my picks? Again, I'd love to hear your thoughts on it. If you agree with them, again, I really hope to have the lineup for this year's final like this. Again, I could be wrong with maybe a few of them, but overall, I want to see this layout here of the Rafikis, Matty, Anastasia, Rafferty, Neve, Fabian, Paul, Celestial, Anti-Gravity, Hawkstone, and Mega Unity. That's my dream final this year. But of course, that will possibly change going into the end of the series for the auditions, where I'll possibly do an updated finalist predictions, which I'm more than happy to do. So that'd be very exciting to do. And also very soon, I'm going to be doing my potential dark horses episode, who are talking about the acts I think could really surprise us going into the live shows, hopefully to the live shows, and be the potential dark horses to actually be possible finalists. So that's something I'm very excited to do. So please stay tuned for that. Thank you so much for listening to this episode. And remember, if you're listening on Spotify, please follow my podcast and download the episode, as well as hitting the notification bell so you don't miss anything. And remember to subscribe to my YouTube channel and hit that notification bell. But once again, thank you so much for listening to my BGT 2026 early picks and predictions for this year's final. And of course, I'll see you guys next time.